Hello everyone, welcome. This is Mompreneurs to Millionaires. So glad you're here. Give me a little wave or a thumbs up if you're watching. Let me know if you're watching on the live. Just say live below, or let me know if you're watching on the replay. Just say replay below. Today we are talking about how to get more clients. Tell me below, do you want more clients? Right? I think we're all in business. We all could use more clients. So that's what we are going to talk about today. I always like to start with a question. If you look back at your last 20 posts on social media, the last 20 posts that you created, did any of them turn into a conversation or even a paid client? You can tell me below or just think about it quietly to yourself. If your answer is 0 or very few, definitely this is going to be for you. So definitely stick around. I was there for years, right? I spent years posting and hoping and just waiting for the algorithm to work for me, waiting for the right people to reach out to me, waiting for people to DM me, right? Or waiting for people to say yes. You have far more power than that. It wasn't until I learned that I could go to them. So we're going to talk about that today. If you feel like you are waiting and posting and hoping, definitely stick around. We're going to talk about it today. All right. Because what I have found is that relationships are actually what moves the needle, are actually what converts, not content. So to me, I like to focus way less on content. Still important to do some content, but not have that be the focus of your business. Relationships, conversations, that is actually what is going to lead to paying clients. So that is what I love helping my clients build, and that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to share with you my 3 easy ways to get clients. So there are just 3. These 3 things are in every single business. If you are wanting to get more conversations and more clients, these 3 pieces are what you need. Then I'm going to share with you my 5-step framework on how to grow a Facebook group. To me, Facebook groups is the easiest place to collect emails, start a conversation, and build those relationships that lead to clients. So we're going to talk all about that. So first of all, thanks so much to everyone who voted. Today, every Tuesday, I put out a poll in my Facebook group. Today, obviously the poll winner was how to get more clients. So obviously, right, we all still are wanting more clients. So I love that we're talking about this. You are here because you are a go-getter, right? I'm so glad you're here. You are wanting to take a piece of information and apply it to your business. You are wanting a little tidbit, tips, tricks, a little nugget that is going to help change your business, right? You are here to learn. This is what you're wanting. So with that, I know you're resourceful. I know that you could do everything yourself, right? But please keep in mind that every business is different. Everything can be specific. Every business is going to have a little bit more of a customized, nuanced approach, right? So yes, we're going to talk about the overall strategy, but definitely please know that I'm here for questions when it gets to the nitty-gritty details, right? Of course, it's going to be different for every single business. So with that in mind, I always like to invite you to put on your abundance crown. I'd love to hear below, what does abundance mean for you? Abundance for me means that all things are possible, and it is up to you, right? You have the power. You have the power to change your mindset. You have the power to change your life. You have the power to change your business. It is up to you, right? Newsflash, no one is coming, unfortunately, to save your business. But you have the power, right? And more power to you. Thank goodness. You have that freedom. You can change your mindset. You can change your business. So with that abundance crown, I invite you to think about 2 things. So write down 2 things as you're watching today's video that stick out to you. Any aha moments, anything that you're going to try, any new tactic, or just something that you hadn't thought of in that way before. I would love to hear it below. Just write down two aha moments. I would love to hear. So that way you get something out of it. You're a go-getter. You are wanting to take some action. So write down 2 action items or 2 aha moments, whatever sticks to you, so that you feel like you get something out of it. You're here for spending time with me. I want you to get something out of it. Awesome. So if you are new here, my name is Christina. I started my first little Etsy shop back in 2010. And I quickly realized the internet is huge. This is where I learned this first lesson. If you build it, people don't just come, right? There I was. I had my perfect pictures, my little Etsy shop. I thought people would just show up. What I found over on Etsy was that there are many Etsy shop owners in Facebook groups. And what was great about those Facebook groups is that we learned from each other and we bought from each other, right? And that was so powerful, that community. That is how I grew that Etsy shop. Then fast forward to 2014, my husband and I opened a brick and mortar. Oh my gosh, tell me brick and mortar below if you have had the joy and trials of a brick and mortar store. We had a little bike shop, coffee shop, and it was fabulous. It was so much fun. But again, we were smacked in the face with that lesson. If you build it, people don't just show up, right? So this is really where I learned you have to go to them. You have to find where your audience is and go to them. It is not enough to just post and hope and wait, right? Unfortunately, I spent years posting and hoping. So at the bike shop, obviously we had this brick and mortar. We couldn't just wait, right? We had to get people like in our door like yesterday. So we really had to get creative and go to them. I always like to share that I dragged my poor mother. She was 70 years old at the time. We went to the campus here in our town and we put shower caps on bike seats, right? We got real creative real fast. Real guerrilla marketing. So what I always like to say is that that is really where I learned by fire, because I had to, right? We had to get people in our door. So we got super creative, super fast. This is where I really learned so many pieces of the marketing triangle, so many pieces of the marketing ecosystem. But one of the best successful pieces of that bike shop was we created a Facebook group. And such a testament to that Facebook group. We created it for events, to have after hours, to go on bike rides, cupcakes and cruisers. That was my jam. But to this day, here we are. We closed the bike shop in 2016. 10 years later, there are still people getting together under that Facebook group, going on bike rides. Isn't that amazing? Still under the same name, like they are loyal. It is very sweet. But such a testament to the idea that people want to belong. They want to be seen, they want to be heard, and they want to belong. So I think that's one of the really great advantages of creating a community of loyal supporters around your business. So if you spent any time here, you know I'm a big fan of Facebook groups. You don't have to have a Facebook group, of course, but I think it's one of the easiest sales funnels. It is the easiest way to build actual relationships and genuine conversations with your customers. So if you're at all interested in Facebook groups, definitely you're in the right place. All right, so if you build it, right, they do not just come. So after the bike shop, I turned it into my passion because I wanted to help other owners, other women business owners, because I thought if we could all rally together, share resources, share knowledge, access, we can all rise together, right? That is my big motto in life, is that we rise together. So I'm so glad you're here. I want to share with you so that you don't have to make the same mistakes, right, that I did. I want you to learn from all those years and trials and tribulations so that you don't have to close your doors and you don't have to make the same mistakes I did. And it doesn't have to take you as long, right? I want you to fast track your business. I don't want you to waste years posting and hoping, trying strategies that you think you should. I want you to learn from someone who's actually done it and failed and get you there faster. So that is my goal in life. So I always like to leave you with a little bit of mindset, right? To me, I think so often, and we did this at the bike shop, we put labels. We put labels and we assume things about our audience. So very true that at the bike shop, we thought our audience was going to be something different, or we put a label on them of how much they could afford, what they wanted to buy, what we thought they would buy, all of those things, right? And I always like to really talk about this lately, is that I see this so much. Whatever status, whatever state the economy is in, there are people spending money, there are people buying things, there are people that can afford your services. So if you are feeling like people can't afford your services, we might need to talk to different people, right? Because there are people out there who need exactly what you have right this second, exactly where you're at in this position. There is no reason that you need to put any labels on your customers, right? There are plenty of people. You don't need to assume anything. You can always assume that they can afford you, right? You don't know anything about their pocketbook. You don't know anything about their particular life story, right? So do not assume anything about your customer. So that is one piece that I would like to leave you with for sure. So another piece is fear, right? I think fear is one of the things that holds most women back. I see this so much, this fear of being salesy. So tell me below if you feel like you are trying so hard not to be salesy, right? Nobody wants to be salesy. Nobody wants to be sold to. And I believe there is a place for every single woman to sell her business, to feel good about selling. To me, selling is serving. And to me, there's a place for every single woman, because if you're in business, right, you better figure out a way to sell your services. And so selling is not a dirty word. Sales is not a dirty word. I really believe that every single woman can find a place that feels good about selling. So that is something I work on with my clients. If that's something that you're at all interested, of course, I would love to share more with you on that. All right. So I've often heard this too, that alignment is that we're seeking alignment with different strategies. And I definitely believe that there's a place where, like I said, that you can feel aligned about selling, but I would also argue that there is a place for growth. Sometimes we think alignment might feel more like a comfort zone, right? And I get it that you can still be stretchy and have it still feel aligned with who you are and your values. Of course, I think there's an aligned place for every woman to feel that safe place to be direct about her business and sell from. But I definitely think there's a place for all of us to grow, right? I think there's a stretchy zone. I think there's a place where we can stay in our comfort zone because it is comfortable, and maybe that feels like alignment. But there could also be a place that feels aligned, but it might be just at the outstretch of your comfort zone, because that is where growth is going to happen. So sometimes it can get scary, right? Of course. And I think that's where fear kicks in and all of our old patterns start to hold us back. So definitely think about your own actions and your own business, and how you're feeling about sales and how you're feeling about your business, right? If you feel like there are things that you're telling yourself, whether it's assumptions about your customers, assumptions about the economy, it's slow time, or assumptions about the time of year that it is, definitely think about, is that really true, or are these just fears holding me back, keeping me in my comfort zone? Often it's going to take us stepping out of our comfort zone in order to grow and move to the next level. So definitely be thinking about your own patterns in that way. All right, so now to the nitty gritty. Let's talk. I'm going to share with you my 3 ways to get clients. So to me, every business has some form of these 3 ways. Number 1, you have to go to them, right? It is no longer enough to just sit and wait and post and hope. Like I said, I spent years after the bike shop closed. I wanted to help other business owners, and I just posted. I thought that was enough. Eventually the algorithm will kick in. It never did. Newsflash. I wasted at least 6 years posting and hoping. Believe me, you don't have 6 years, right? How quick do you want your business to grow? Do you want to wait 6 years or 6 months even, right? What do you want your business to look like in 30 days? So posting and hoping, right? Unfortunately, is not a great strategy. So you have to go to them, and you have far more power than that, right? And this can look like going where they hang out. This can look like sending them a DM. This can look like a lot of things, right? But you have to go to them, and you have the power to do so, right? Number 2 is you have to warm them up. So most people are not going to see one post and buy. Notice your own habits, right? Are you clicking on anything every day and just buying something, especially if it is a higher ticket? It's going to take some warming up. It's going to take a conversation. It's going to take a relationship, right? In my mind, a conversation is one of the best places to start to even figure out if this is the right fit for each other, right? It is just as much you interviewing them as they are interviewing you, right? You've got to make sure it's an aligned partnership, right? An exchange of value. You really want to have that conversation to even know if that's going to happen. So 2 is warm them up. And to me, I think the Facebook group is the easiest place to kind of warm them up, get them in your world, get them in your container, warm them up to you, your services, and all that you offer. All right, and number 3, the final step is follow up. I see this so much, and if any of you were at our Power Moves Monday networking event, every Monday at 12 p.m. Eastern, we have a group here in this Facebook group where you can come on Zoom and tell us about your business, and we answer questions, and we like to have a great discussion. This week, we talked a lot about following up and what that looks like. I would always argue that until they say no, right, until they say stop bugging me, it is your job to follow up. Now, you can do this in a number of really eloquent ways, right? It doesn't mean following up and being annoying. It doesn't mean following up and saying, hey, do you want to buy my thing? It doesn't mean here's my link, here's my link, here's my link. That might be too much, right? So there's an aligned place about still building your relationships, still having a conversation, even if they are not responding. I think so often we think, oh, they ghosted me, right? Tell me below if you've thought, oh, they ghosted me. If you've ever said those words, right, I would definitely push back a little bit and say, how many times did you follow up? If you followed up once and they ghosted you and you thought that was the end of the conversation, to me, that is your job. Your job is to follow up and to follow up with leadership. Follow up with a decision-making mind and to help them make a decision, right? That is your job. It is not enough just to be like, hey, checking in, right? That's really hard for people to respond to. But if that is where you want to start, absolutely. If that's all you can come up with, do it. We are in an age of AI. You have the entire internet at your fingertips, right? You have everybody's idea of a follow-up, everybody's idea of a DM script at your fingertips. Ask AI, how should I follow up? How can I follow up with this person with leadership and decision-making mindset? Those are great things to try. We had, in fact, we were talking about that very thing, and one woman on our networking call, she said after the call she followed up. I don't know what exactly she asked her prompt, but she followed up and to someone that she wasn't sure she should follow up, right? She was hesitant to follow up because she wasn't sure what to say, but she put it in AI and that person ended up buying her thing. How amazing, right? Do it, follow up. That's the key. So those are the 3 steps, honestly, to making more money, to getting more clients. It's very easy, those 3 steps. Of course, it's a little more nuanced for every specific business, but those are really the 3 steps. So now we're going to talk about my 5-step framework. So this really fits inside those 3 pieces. So my 5-step framework for growing your Facebook group is called the GROWS method. So if you've been in my world, I talk about the GROWS method all the time. So the first one is G, GROWS. G is get clear on your audience. You got to know who you're talking to and how to message that, right? Get clear on your audience. Number 2 is R. This is the right questions. You've got to be able to ask the right questions. And to me, this is the qualifying questions. You've got to figure out who this person is, right? You got to know the right questions to figure out if that person from your clear audience is even interested in your thing. And this is where the Facebook group really comes in handy. You have those entry questions. These entry questions are the key to it all. You can qualify your audience and collect emails through these entry questions. So that is the key to the whole funnel. So R is right questions. O is other Facebook groups. So you are definitely probably already in other Facebook groups. Take advantage of other people's audiences. You're in this Facebook group. We have daily promotions. You have access to lots of other business owners. I always suggest reciprocating, right? If you want more likes and comments, start liking and commenting on other people's content. It's a great place to be reciprocal and it feels good. It feels